So the I-9 Sports official youth baseball rules, the basic level of what we're trying to get out of this experience is that the kids learn the fundamentals of trying to throw a baseball, trying to catch a baseball, trying to field a baseball, and trying to hit a baseball with a little with more instruction on how a baseball field works, first base, second base, third base, and where to stand in the field. But the general fundamental skills they're trying to learn is throwing a baseball, catching a baseball, fielding a baseball, and hitting a baseball. That's what we're trying to teach them. You guys will be more like coordinators than you will be officials/instructors, right? So you will be coordinating the baseball field. What that means is you will be in charge of one field. That field might have 4 teams on it at a time. We go to great lengths to secure parent coaches for all of our teams, especially with baseball. We have T-ball for our youngest age groups, and we have Pee-wee for our older age groups. Those 2 age groups are 3 and 4-year-olds and 5 and 6-year-olds. Oftentimes, we get tons of parents that want to help out during the practices and help during the games. We love that. We want that, right? We try to get at least 2 parent coaches to a team, but we always get additional helpers as well. So when you're out there, you will be recruiting helpers, making sure the teams are set up, coordinating the time, so switching sides midway through practice, and then jumping into the game. And then making sure they're working through the lineups as they go. You will more than likely not have to just lock in and coach one team. If that is a situation that is going to present itself, that's where the site manager will help come get involved as well. And we have additional people at the venue to help as needed with keeping time. But you guys are bringing that baseball expertise, so you're the best people to fill in if we do have coaches that are out, or if we need to have a coach or need to have a staff coach a team for that 1 week. When we're out there, it's an hour-long session for the T-ball group, and it's an hour and 15-minute session for the Pee-wee group. Super Pee-wee, which is T-ball, they play 30-minute practice, 30-minute games. At the 15-minute mark, they'll switch sides. One team will start at the hitting station, so they'll hit at the tee with the bases. The other team will start in the field, or in the outfield, I should say, at the cone station, where there'll be several cones set up side by side with baseballs, where they're working on throwing and catching and fielding. 15-minute mark, we're blowing our whistle a little bit before that 15-minute mark to let them know the 15-minute mark's coming up. And then at the 15-minute mark, we're blowing our whistle to switch sides. Then they're both going to switch sides and finish the rest of their practice. Then we'll jump into the game. The game will be 30 minutes for the T-ball group, and it'll be 40 minutes for the Pee-wee group, the coach pitch group. The reason for that is so we can get more innings in, all right? Super Pee-wee should be getting 2 to 3 innings in. The Pee-wee group should be getting 3 innings in. It's coach pitch. It's real quick. We're going to go over how that works, but we should be able to get through that. Now, safety. Safety is a huge thing with I-9 Sports, especially baseball. Everybody here has experienced playing baseball, coaching baseball, working with baseball in some capacity, whether I-9 or elsewhere. Swinging a baseball bat is an inherently dangerous activity, right? If you're not being safe and you're not being responsible. These are 3 and 4-year-olds. I expect them to be somewhat responsible and safe, but they're 3 and 4-year-olds, right? That's why the coaches are out there. That's why you guys are out there to kind of keep everything under control. We do not permit any sliding into bases or to go catch a ball. They should be in a ready position, ready to catch the ball. And as they're running around the bases, they should just be running to the next base. There's no sliding into the base. The first baseman, if it is a kid, should be wearing a helmet that has a face mask on it. So there'll be a cage on the front of the helmet. For those that have played baseball before, you're very familiar with what that looks like. If you have not played a lot of official baseball before, it'll be just like the regular standard batting helmets, except it'll have a metal cage across the front of it. That's what we'll use for the players that are playing first. Oftentimes what I've seen this summer and in the spring is a parent will actually play first base. So the kids are trying to practice throwing the ball to first base at the Super Pee-wee level to a coach that's there. At the Pee-wee level, once we get to coach pitch, we want to try to have just the kids out there. That's really where that helmet comes into play if a kid is playing first base. The batter and the on-deck hitter should be wearing helmets at all times when they're hitting, okay? there should be 3 to 4 helmets on the bench for the team that's up to bat. Oftentimes there's 5 or 6 that'll be there as well, actually, because they'll need the extra one for the person on first, and then you'll have the on deck person and the one that's up at bat, and then you'll have the people that are on the base when they're out there. Another safety rule, when in doubt, sit them out. If a kid gets hit with a ball, falls and hits their head, if they have an injury that you suspect to be somewhat serious, have them sit out. Have the parent come over, check on them before they go back in the field. Especially if there's any concussion questions and stuff like that, they have to sit out, and you have to communicate that to the site manager. The positions for T-ball, coach pitch baseball. On offense, there will be a batter, and this is for during the game, just so you guys that are taking notes. During the game, there'll be a batter and an on-deck batter. The on-deck batter will be hitting off the hitting stick, which a parent or an assistant coach will be holding, off to the side in a coned-off area, and then the batter will be up at bat. Those two will have helmets, and they'll have bats. The rest of the team during the game will be on the bench. There's a bench there. They should be sitting on the bench waiting their turn to hit. For the defense, they will be out in the field. So you should try to get them to be at first base, second base, shortstop, third base, and then sprinkled behind them as well for the outfield if they have more kids. All fielders must stand behind the infield arc line. The arc line is basically an 8-yard line that we have with a semicircle cone. It's a semicircle of cones on the diamond. So we'll walk out 8 yards up the first base line, 8 yards up the third base line. We'll put a cone, and then we'll connect the semicircle. All right. And we'll use that where no fielders can come in front of that line during play. That way, nobody gets hit in the face with a ball. Nobody has any chance of getting hurt. We try to keep everybody back at the normal positions. All players will rotate positions each inning. So they should be moving around on the field. So if they played one position the one inning, they should move to the other position, another position that next inning. Now, as far as the equipment goes, all of the T-balls are reduced injury factor level 1 T-balls. That is just a really fancy I-9 verbiage of saying the squishy baseballs. When you pick them up, they should be really squishy. Like you grab them, you squeeze them, and it's like squeezing a stress ball almost. It shouldn't be a wooden core baseball. It shouldn't feel like a heavy baseball. It should feel like a rubberized baseball. That's what you're looking for. We provide them all at the venues. That's part of the equipment that you'll have there setting up. There'll be bags of baseballs, and you want to make sure that we're using those during the game. We also provide the bats. All of our bats are the ones that we provide. No wooden bats are permitted. Sneakers or rubber cleats may be worn. No metal spikes, and no metal objects or jewelry may be worn. Again, this is 3 to 6-year-olds. We're probably not going to run into that, but just so you're aware, those are the rules as it pertains to players' equipment. Now, the rules of play. All children will play the entire game in the field and get a turn at bat when they're hitting. Everybody plays. For score, statistics, coaches, and game rules. Games consist of multiple innings. As I mentioned, 2 to 3 for Super Pee Wee. We try to get 3 for Pee Wee. Do not start a new inning if both sides cannot finish by the end of your scheduled time. So if we get through 2 innings at the Super Pee Wee level and there's only 5 minutes left in the time, that's the game. Same thing with the Pee Wee level. We should get through at least 2 innings. The goal is to get through 3. So make sure that we're able to get through before we start again. So we might have a group that leaves 5 minutes early, right? They'll agree that, oh, we're not going to be able to get through both sides, so we'll call the game at 2 innings. That should only happen pretty close to the end time, maybe 5 minutes early. We do not keep score. We do not have stats. Everybody scores in T-ball. Everybody scores in coach pitch. Everybody runs the bases. The last hitter hits a grand slam. That's how our program works. We'll get more into that in a second. All coaches and parents are allowed on the field to assist. Parents can assist their child. That's totally fine. As the season goes on, we want to try to get the kids autonomous, so maybe less parents on the field, but we are more than happy to have parents and volunteers on the field helping out. Volunteers may not touch a batted ball that is in play. The only time that would change would be the Super Pee Wee division, when a parent might be playing first base just to help out. We do not use umpires, so you guys do not need to umpire. And that is the general score statistics, coaches, and rules. Any questions on anything we just covered? I'm going to jump into the division-specific stuff now. Thumbs up if we're good. Awesome. Resounding yes from everybody. Now, T-ball, 3 to 4-year-olds. I already went over some of this, so some of this will be, repetitive, but 30-minute practice, 30-minute game, 60-minute session, batting helmets. Encourage the kids to wear their baseball cap underneath the helmet. These are the helmets that we use each season. We put them out there. They stay in storage. They come back out. We make sure they're good. They're not cracked. They're not broken or anything else like that, but we always encourage them to wear their baseball cap underneath. The batter who is batting and the on-deck hitter and the base runner should all be wearing helmets during the games. First baseman must wear the helmet with the face cage if they're playing first base. At the T-ball level, if it's a parent, then the parent can be out there. That's totally fine. All defensive players will stand in the ready position until the ball is hit. Everybody here has baseball experience. The ready position, bent knees, athletic stance, glove out in front, ready to field a baseball, right? We want to make sure to encourage kids to get into the ready position. Use that week one as you're working with the coaches, you're checking with the coaches. Hey, coaches, let's make sure we're encouraging ready position before every ball that's hit. So that way the kids are getting down in the ready position. We have some phenomenal baseball coaches across all of our programs, but our staff are the ones that excel the program even further. So let's make sure we're working with the teams. We're starting to grow our baseball program at a lot of different venues. And the reason why they dwindle at other venues is because we have staff that are not engaged. So you need to be engaged with the baseball program. This is not an opportunity to just check out and be like, oh, they got coaches, whatever. I'm going to go stand over here on the sideline and just watch the other fields. We're always involved. We're always trying to help. We're always trying to excel and work with the coaches. That's in the field. Now, when they're up at bat, the batter, on-deck hitter must wear helmets. Every team will bat the entire lineup each inning. No outs are recorded. They'll use the tee. It'll always be set up, and it'll be removed after the child hits the ball into fair territory, so that way the runner on third can come home and touch home base. There should be a plate underneath the tee. If you do not have a plate at your venue, you need to let the site manager know and let us know. So they'll lift up the tee and they run the bases and they'll put the tee back down. All batters swing until they hit the ball. Typically, that should be like 2 to 3 swings tops. They should get a hit and they run the bases. They just swing until they hit. They don't get to hit a bunch during the game. They just get one hit. Then they go around, then they finish their inning, then they get up again. The last batter in the lineup will automatically hit a grand slam, and that'll clear the bases, and they'll all run around. Instruct the players to drop the bat after hitting the ball. There's no penalty for batting out of turn. Players arriving after a game has begun will just jump in at the end of the batting lineup. The easiest way for the coaches to do the batting lineup is to have them sit on the bench in the order that they're hitting, and then they just slide down. It's very simple. It's a very easy thing to have the kids do, and just roll through there. Now, as it pertains to base running, all base runners must wear helmets. The team at bat will continue to advance the one base per hit. There's no leading, there's no stealing, and runners will run when the ball is hit. Runners may not advance to the next base on any overthrown balls. So if they go to throw to first and the ball goes by the first base and they can't run the second or third, right? Every time a player fields the ball, they should be throwing the ball to first anyway. Doesn't matter if it's a guy on first, second, third, bases loaded, whatever it is. The play is always to first. We're trying to get them to first understand how to field the ball and where to throw it to first base, okay? So everybody got that. Thumbs up on the strategy and how we expect everything to go with baseball for the T-ball level. Awesome. All right, this is okay. It's responding now. Now, coach pitch. I already went over this. Hour and 15 minutes for the session. 30-minute practice. 45-minute game. So again, we're switching midway through. I think I said 35 and 40 actually. So 30 and 45 minutes. All right. So the game's 45 minutes. We should be able to get through that third inning. Practice time plus game. Make sure we're switching practice at the middle mark. It's very simple. They're doing hitting, they're doing fielding, and they're switching at the 15-minute mark. Always blow your whistle. Always have control of your venue. The parents should not be guessing at what time things are and how things are working and who's in charge. You guys should have control of the venue. Now, a lot of these things are very similar to the other division, so I'll go through those, but I will highlight the ones that are different. The helmet rule stays the same. Batters, on-deck hitters, runners on base. The difference in coach pitch is obviously one, that they're not using a tee. The coach is pitching, but they only get 3 pitches on their own before they bring out the tee. So they get 3 chances to hit the ball. They don't hit any of those 3, then we'll put the tee out there and they'll hit the ball real quick off the tee and then they'll run to first. The coach will pitch overhand and is encouraged to pitch from one knee, like throwing a dart, right? So if any coaches have any issues throwing, just be like, hey, coach, just real quick, right from there, and that's all I need you to do. Just toss the ball right in there, let them get a hit. All batters swing until they hit the ball into fair territory. Once the ball is hit, the batter will go to first and then stop. Same rules as previously. There's no batting out of turn is not a penalty. They'll bat the entire lineup. They have to drop the bat, and any player arriving late will jump in the bottom of the batting lineup. Running is all the same. All base runners must wear helmets. The team at bat will continue to advance 1 base per hit. Runners may not advance to the next base once a defensive player has possession of the ball. So that is one thing that does change. So they field the ball, the kid runs to first, the next kid gets a hit, that runs to second, runs to first, then the next kid gets a hit. They're running around the bases. Once the player gets the ball, then the play is dead. All right. Runners may not advance to the next base on any overthrown balls. So dead ball, ball's out of play, everybody stops. Runners may not tag up on a caught fly ball. There's not too many kids hitting the ball in the air or catching them. I've never actually seen it. So we shouldn't have any issues with tag ups. Again, it's a lot of that similar moving around the carousel. No leading or stealing bases. Runners will run when the ball is hit, and they'll advance a base. Very standard. Everybody will go around the horn, and there's no outs. So we don't have them getting thrown out at first, although they will get better at throwing at first, right? 5 and 6-year-olds should be able to throw the ball to first at this point and catch the ball. So they might have an opportunity where they could get an out, but we don't keep outs, right? It's coach pitch. They're all moving around, and the coaches should be out there, and there will be helpers out there as well, moving people around the bases. You guys are out there to coordinate, instruct, and lead. Do you guys have any questions about the way the rules are for the Pee Wee coach pitch level or the Super Pee Wee T-ball level? And again, I know this is a lot of information being thrown at you at once. We're going through the rules really quickly. But once we step out for in-person training, that's where we're going to take what we've learned here and really put it into action. That's where we'll actually have 45 minutes on the field to walk you through exactly what that looks like. So you'll get to practice it yourself, get to see it firsthand.